Welcome back to GBGuns. Got an interesting one here. Let's play Find the Ejection Port. This is a Walther P5, something that I found at the Century Arms surplus corner when I went and visited the actual corner, or warehouse if you will. You've seen some teasers of this. I've already had it out and shot it, and I have no regrets about that. But I want to give you a close-up look at this very uncommon, rather unique pistol. Coming up next on GBGuns. Walther P5, this was developed in the 70s in response to the, as the lore says, in response to the Munich terrorist attacks at the Olympics. And it's really a cool evolution of the P88 design from what I understand. Got a lot of unique features to it. So we've showed clear, of course, and right away you see that's not a Browning action, as in the barrel is not tilting to get out of the way. We've got a decocker. Anyways, before we get into all these features, let's do our standard walk around, take a look at the gun, all Fireman Outdoor style. We have some play, front and rear, up and down, side to side. This is a well-used gun. These were made late 70s through the early 90s. From what I gather, about 100,000 were made. 6,500 of them were made for the commercial market, and those with this kind of parkerized matte finish and black plastic grips were made for military and police. From the forums, this serial number tells me that this was one of the early ones for the Dutch police. But it's a single stack, so we've got our heel magazine release, and in Walther style, it ejects that mag, even from 70s design. Single stack 9mm, witness windows all the way through the mag, so regardless of orientation in the pouch, or regardless of which hand you're shooting from, you can tell rapidly how many rounds are in there. This magazine has lots of spot welds to it, very complex build for a standard pistol mag, if you will. Pro Mag makes reproduction magazines that, from what I have seen, work, which is kind of cool. So we don't have a rail spot because rails weren't cool yet. We do have a rather slim front end, and thanks to this sloping in these shapes here, there's plenty of room for press checks, even though press checks weren't cool yet. We can see our trigger guard is enlarged with this little hump to kind of swoop you into the trigger. Trigger pull is very Walther. Come back to a wall, little creep, clean break. Reset, also very Walther. Nice click, back to the slack, and brake. Double action is smooth and continuous. And you've got a decocker here, which renders the gun completely inert. While the hammer is down, there is no way for this thing to fire. You can pull the trigger and shoot in double action. What do I mean by rendering it inert? Well, if you look in the hammer, you can see we've got that little recess in there. And if you look at the firing pin, it's down. As I pull the trigger, it comes up into position and only is lifted totally into position right before it fires. When you decock it, it actually lowers that firing pin out of the way and drops it back down into that recess. So now is your firing pin not only not in alignment with the hammer, but is resting in a pocket. So like this, you can beat this hammer as much as you want. It's not going to move that firing pin. The gun's not going to go off. Pretty cool, innovative design. I've only seen a tilting firing pin or striker like that in one other gun, the Gill Arms. We'll have more on this later. Very unique, brand new pistol. Back to the Walther. We have serrations on the front strap. However, they are vertical. I've never understood why. What you need control with is front and rear movement, not side to side movement. So front strap serrations and back strap serrations, in my opinion, should always be horizontal so that they give you grip. Speaking of serrations, you can see that the trigger itself has serrations on it, which is pretty cool. No beveling to the mag well, really, and it does have that heel release, which, as I've demonstrated many times, fits the European training standard of retaining your magazine. Since you have to have a hand up there to push that button, you might as well hold on to the magazine. Retain it, you don't discard it. We've got checkering on our plastic grips, checkering on the back of the back strap. We'll look at rear slide to frame fit. Fairly tight. It wants to, of course, move rearward on me, but not a lot of movement there. And coming around the right side of the gun, here's the part that I think is so crazy, is no ejection port, no controls whatsoever. It looks like a space gun from this side. The logic that I can agree with, I don't know if this was what Walther was thinking, but why have a gun eject to the left? Well, if you're a right-handed shooter, that's going to let you see more easily what your obstruction or your malfunction is and clear it. Also, it takes a lot of training and discipline for people to tilt the gun to the right and rack to clear a malfunction and let gravity help them. Even big famous YouTubers like Military Arms Channel have been seen tilting this way, causing your stuckage, your jam, to get even worse, further complicate things because gravity wants to tuck the round further back down in the gun. Well, with a port on the left side, it's an easy flip towards you, and now gravity's helping you clear that. Pretty cool, pretty smart. Got an exposed extractor. Let me give you an idea of our sight picture. Dot and post style, really nice sights. They are adjustable. It's a rather complex, advanced gun. The real wildness comes when we field strip this thing and take a look inside the gun. So to field strip the P5, we of course make sure it's clear. We've got no food source and nothing in the chamber. Then we're going to bring the slide back and rotate this takedown lever around to there. Slide comes forward off the frame, no need to pull the trigger. Where is our recoil assembly? Well, it's these piston style spring and pins, 2 independent pins and springs that function independent of one another to kind of balance as they fatigue on both sides of the frame. It's pretty cool. Nice clean construction in there. You can see a little bit of contact wear there. I have no idea how many rounds were put through this gun before I became the owner. Now to get our barrel out, take it straight out the front. You ever seen a slide cut like that? Pretty crazy. Look inside our slide, you can see a little bit of chatter on the top of the slide, as most guns tend to have. All very clean. And then there's a locking block mechanism here, and this is very Bred 92 reminiscent of how this gun locks and unlocks. And it's guided, of course, once more up front here to help keep things very level. You can see we have a little bit of a feed ramp, just a tiny bit provided by the barrel. The rest of it all depends on alignment. We'll check our chamber fit, as always, with our nozzler match. Gosh, I need to get more of this stuff. I've been using this stuff for a couple of years because it is the most precisely loaded and sized ammunition I've ever encountered. So with the round dropped in there, you can see we have full chamber support minus where the extractor sits, which is completely normal. So this is a fully supported gun, which means that you are safer to run higher pressure loads, or in the event of an overloaded round or case failure because it's aluminum or it's been reprocessed too many times, etc., etc. Also means that when the brass goes to expand after that ignition, it's going to be uniform and help hopefully keep some uniform projection out the barrel. Pretty cool piece. I had seen them before, as someone pointed out to me. James Bond used one in Octopussy. That might be where I first saw one. Never seen one in real life until I was hanging out at Sentry, and they had this sitting there. What am I forgetting here? Oh, there we go. So I had to make sure that locking block was up to clear. Pull the slide back, rotate that lever back around, and we're back together. Pretty cool. Another thing that's neat about it is the decocker lever here gives you a positive feel, positive connection with the hammer. It's not like so many others where you push the button and the hammer drops, and it's just by faith of engineering that you feel that it's safe. Watch this. If I hold this lever down, I can actually retain the hammer and slowly lower it by hand. Kind of cool. Not necessary per se, but it's definitely reassuring. Neat little gun. I'm going to see if I can find a holster for this thing. Single stack, I believe we're able to take 8 rounds. Bust out that ammo again. Now, of course, one of the things when you get a surplus gun like this is there's no manual or anything like that, and this gun's been out of production for a couple decades. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Takes us to all the windows. Sometimes there's room for another, there is not. So this is an 8+1 9-round gun, very similar to the Shield in capacity. Of course, it's much fatter because, well, you've got an aluminum frame, a steel up top, and extra width for all those mechanisms, etc. that's in there. I think this is going to be a lot of fun to shoot. Dirty secret, I took it right out to the range and already shot it, but we haven't done our shooting impressions yet. I'm curious to see how this design will fare with all the modern ammunition opportunities that are out there, hence our What's for Dinner test. So it will get a What's for Dinner test, it will get some accuracy testing with that lockup setup and the barrel never dropping out of place. I imagine there's great potential for accuracy despite a relatively short barrel. There were some longer barrel target versions of these. I believe those were commercial only. I've seen a few videos of them out there, but not seen one in real life, nor ever seen one for sale, save like Gunbroker, where these things are pretty penny. So it's pretty cool opportunity that I got to find this at Century Arms. Really looking forward to shooting it, and just a neat piece of Walther, you know, and so different from the Q5. This is the P5, quite a different gun from the Q5. What a difference a letter makes, right? Neat gun. Glad I got to share it with you. Look for our shooting impressions video coming out on this soon. If you're watching it close to release date, if you're watching it a few weeks after, then yeah, go search the channel page. You'll find it. If you want to have a chance to find neat guns like this, I strongly suggest stalking the Century Arms surplus corner. I found a lot of neat guns there, and over the years, and was fortunate enough to pick up this thing. And look at that oddball. Where's the ejection board? Alright, enough of me being gleeful over my purchase here. We'll get this out to the range and see you there. Thanks for watching.